what can go wrong in the process of DNA replication. Now, you guys already know, you told me that an error in DNA copying is called what?
Mutation.
Okay, so these are errors. These are just mistakes. So you know about the base pair rule. So if I tell you that we're going to copy this side of the DNA, so let's assume everything goes right on this first side. So we're copying both halves here. So T gets an A, C gets a what?
G.
G, cars park in garages. A gets a T, C gets a G, C gets a G, A gets a T, T gets a A, G gets a C. Okay, hey, we copied one strand successfully. So one strand is good. And I'm trying to move this apart. Huh? Let's get that moved even a little further apart there. Okay, now what happens if on the other side a few things go wrong? So A gets a what? T. G gets a T gets an A, C gets a G, G gets a C, T gets an A gets a T, C gets a G, and that gets an A. Hey, did I make any mistakes?
Yeah, you didn't put a T on the other A.
Oh, well, other than that. Oh! Hey, looky right there.
Oh, that's not kind of paper. Oh.
Guess what that is?
A mistake.
Now, this is a mutation that occurred at a single point in a DNA strand. Guess what we call that? It occurred at one point in a DNA strand. I would check your vocab. So this is a point mutation. It occurred at a single point on a DNA strand. Now, do we know if this is going to kill the organism, make it explode, cause it to have horns growing off of its head, get you a nice glow-in-the-dark something? That'd be cool. I'd love to be glow-in-the-dark. We don't know that, and we'll talk more about why we don't know what's going to happen here yet later. But it's a point mutation. There are 3 types of point mutation. So there are 3 types of point mutation, and we're going to talk about all of them. When you're ready, I'm going to flip to the second slide. This type of point mutation. What did I do there? What was the mistake?
G to G.
Okay, so what should it have been?
CG.
It should have been, yeah, C should have been popped in there because guanine matches cytosine. So I substituted a G for the C that should be there. Oh, well, this is called a substitution mutation. It's a substitution mutation. Okay, so this is fairly straightforward, right? It's a substitution mutation. You put in the wrong base. You substitute the wrong base for the right base. That's not hard. And that's pretty obvious. Does this affect the bases above that or below that? Would that affect the pair above that or the pair below it?
I don't think.
No. No, it's pretty limited in scope. So doesn't affect the bases to either side of it. It does not affect the neighboring bases. It doesn't have an effect on the overall strand. Do we know if this has an effect on the organism or not? We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. Well, we will know that, but we don't know it yet. And I think one of the things that we watched mentioned that some mutations don't have an effect. Some mutations have a negative effect. Some have a positive effect. And we can't tell which this will be yet. Okay, so let's do our next kind of mutation. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the second half of that strand. And then you're going to find my mistake.
Okay.
Oops.
Found it.
Found it.
There's your problem right there.
A to G is illegal.
Wait, what?
A to G, you can't do that.
It's A, C to G. And there's two of them.
There's
There's an extra.
There's an extra one. Without a partner.
What happened? That A right there, that's the problem. Everything was chugging along just fine. Everybody matched up.
He screwed it up.
Then I added an extra. I inserted a base that doesn't belong there.
Do that.
You can't do that. This is called, since these are, so crazy and you'd never guess them, if you insert a base that shouldn't be there, can you guess what it might be called? So in an insertion mutation, an extra base is inserted in the DNA strand. We get an extra. We get a bonus base. Wow. Now, the question I had in the last panel. Does this mutation affect the pairs above or below it? I'm going to ask that again. Don't yell it out. Talk to the people at your table. Does this have the potential to screw up the entire strand?
Yes.
Focus, Pinky. This can screw up the whole strand. Because you've just shoved an extra base in there. Look at the pairings down below that. Well, this one's paired up. Is this one paired up? Are these paired up? Are these? Are these? This one's got no dance partner at all.
Poor little fella.
So, because it's changed the alignment, it's shifted everything else down one position. It's like somebody wormed their way into line and bumped you out of the way. So that causes what is called, hey, you'll want to write this down. That can cause what's called a frame shift mutation. So anything that causes a frame shift mutation has the potential to change a whole bunch of stuff, not just that one point. So an insertion mutation is still a point mutation. It's still a point mutation, but it can cause other mutations. It can cause other issues on that strand of DNA. What happens? Well, find my mistake. Did you find my mistake?
Yep.
What happened? Oh, look at that. There should be something in here that's missing. Well, what if I did that?
Ooh, that's perfect. Put a T there.
Well, except I didn't. I didn't. So, what happened here? We missed a base. It looks as though a base got deleted. Deletion error, yeah. Well, we can make creative word forms. A deletion error is when what happens? So we accidentally deleted a base. We forgot one. Does this cause problems up and down the line?
Yes.
Yes. This is the other kind of mutation that can cause a frame shift. Because, look, we missed one. Well, now these aren't lined up correctly. These aren't lined up correctly. And we've got one hanging off here with no dance partner. So this is the other kind of mutation that causes frame shifts. Now, we don't know yet whether these are going to cause a problem in the organism, do we? Because we actually haven't gotten to the question of what does DNA actually build? We haven't gotten there. Other than your sparkly blue eyes or your crazy curly hair or your crooked pinky fingers or your freckles. It's another club I'm in. Crinodactyly. Anyway, it's a single gene mutation. I'm a mutant. I have crooked pinkies. No. Okay, so we don't know yet which of these mutations might cause a problem with the organism and which of them are going to be completely harmless. Because to know that, we have to understand what the DNA is doing. So obviously that's where we're going to go next. Tomorrow when you walk in, there will be a recall quiz over mutation types. You have to identify mutation types. You can do that. I think you can. So you can work on your Part C's. You've got 4 minutes. You can pull out your vocab, see if there are any Part C's that you feel like you can now address. And tomorrow, like I said, when you walk in, recall quiz on mutations.